Welcome to the Transnet podcast. My name is Zimasa Vabaza and we are live from the SAPEX conference in Cape Town at Century City. And we've had an amazing couple of days where we are unpacking Transnet supply chain strategy and all the components and parts that go into it. And SAPEX is the South African Production and Inventory Control Society. And the broader message for this conference is forward-thinking supply chains. Not today, but tomorrow. If we're thinking forward, how do we get there and what do we do in order to get there? Now, Transnet is a diamond sponsor of this conference, and they aim to simplify processes and increase supply chain stability. I'm joined by Tim Sibula, who is the GM for Supplier Relationship Management, and he's going to run us through and get us to understand what this new unit is, how it works, and how it's going to succeed. Tim, how are you today?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you doing, Sebastian?
No, I'm very, very well. I've enjoyed the last couple of conversations and some of the panels here at the conference, and I want to hear a little bit more about how this new way of work at Transnet relative to procurement and supply chain management is going to gear up the business to do really amazing things and to rejig and make it efficient and effective for what it needs to do for its customers, but also for the country. So I want to understand, at Transnet, this new way of work, what is supplier relationship management? What is it?
Zimasa, in simple terms, the supplier relationship management is a relationship that is characterized by a set of principles, processes, and templates that govern relationships between suppliers and clients. You may immediately accuse me of giving you an answer that sounds like a textbook answer. Let's bring it down to nuts and bolts.
Yes.
It is a relationship that seeks to alter the traditional and conventional way of how suppliers and clients relate, to move the organization from relationships of conflict and confrontation to one of cooperation and coordination for joint value creation.
Yes.
So in other words, best run organizations on earth have actually discovered that the conventional ways in terms of which suppliers and their clients are forever in a conflictual relationship and very, very transactional does not create maximum value. Maximum value is created through buyer-supplier relationships.
Now, this becomes very interesting, and I want to know, why would the business initiate this new unit and why would it sit under procurement, and where are we going with all of this?
Yeah, look, I mean, it is common cause that Transnet is facing all sorts of difficulties, from financial sustainability to service delivery, and then which impacts adversely on the economic development of this very fragile economy. So I'm going to give you three elements which in my mind are a bedrock for this department, which elements in fact are indeed aligned to the value proposition of Transnet's procurement transformation project. What are they? They are service delivery and availability. 2, cost reduction and the attainment of economies of scale.
Very key.
3, it is also the question of helping Transnet attain its competitive advantage. So in a nutshell, that is the value proposition of the department.
Now, we're seeing that supplier relationships are very important, but I want to understand them from the perspective of procurement. A lot of the conversations I've had today have kind of started to demystify a lot of the ways that I thought that procurement was supposed to work. And I'm now getting to understand that it is actually a lot more complex, and this new way of work is needed. I want to understand how the relationships are going to change now, and how somebody who's listening and listening to this podcast or watching this podcast who is working with Transnet is going to feel that's actually going to be a good thing. How do we get there, and how is it going to add value to the people on the other side who are themselves the suppliers?
Yeah. It'll actually be a very collaborative partnership with suppliers. I've said to you that traditional procurement relationships are characterized by animosity and conflict. So supplier relationship as a new concept of doing business. In fact, it's not new. It has been around for too long. The only problem is that most developing nations have taken a very, very long period of time to incorporate it and ingratiate and embed it within the entire supply chain management value chain. So it'll be characterized by collaboration. It becomes a relationship of trust. It's going to be a very, very long road to travel before we get there. Because for the most part, suppliers know that conflictual adversarial relationship. So we would be creating collaborations together with our suppliers. Would be attaining trust, creating a trusting relationship between us, and in turn, the value is that we'll be altering transaction cost economics. So the cost of doing business and actually acquiring goods and services will be reduced through those relationships.
Now, what are the key components of this new division, and what is its spectrum of work? So yes, it's dealing with supplier sort of relationships, but what are maybe the three things that it wants to get right from how it works with suppliers? What are those things that you feel are key and can be measurable in how this new unit does work?
Okay. Let me try to answer your question by talking about both the inputs and the throughputs. Your inputs would be collaboration, synergy, trust relationship, joint planning, joint demand management, because remember, it is a collaborative relationship. It's not conflictual. In turn, the value proposition, once you attain the maximum status of those elements that I've just spoken to, that should help you alter service delivery. Your delivery lead times should be able to alter, because there will be a free flow of information between the suppliers and the clients. We don't see each other as opponents, we see each other as what? Collaborators. Partners in the relationship. So there is free flow of communication between Transnet and its key customers. Key suppliers, I beg your pardon. We forgot to say that we'd be targeting initially your strategic suppliers, those with the most impact on our organization.
Business,
on our business. So we should be able to alter delivery lead times. We should be able to alter the prices of acquisition of goods and services. We should be able to attain innovation, because now there is trust. Suppliers will have confidence of coming with innovation, continuous improvement.
Adapt to the environment.
Correct. So that we attain our goods and services fast, cost competitively, and at the optimal value.
Now, who is going to benefit from this more? Or will there be parity in this benefit, but who benefits from this new unit's work, and how are we going to ultimately monetarily measure that this is something that is moving in the right direction?
Remember, as Masa, world-class organizations use supply chain management as a strategic lever to impact the bottom line of the organization. So if supplier relationship management attains its value, the entire supply chain management within the organization should translate into the reduction of costs for the acquisition of goods and services. That in turn, when you reduce your costs, inevitably
profitability
goes high up. So the entire organization should attain value out of it across all the operating divisions.
I appreciate your time. I think what is very key, and the understanding that I got here was I was fighting with this idea of saying, how is it different from stakeholder management? And I'm starting to understand why this is important. But also, I'm emboldened to say that cost cutting has always been at the top of mind when people think of a behemoth like Transnet, right? They always feel that maybe certain things could be scaled back, and fostering those relationships with the people that you work with allows for us to actually say that particular thing is actually might not be as necessary as what we think. Let's talk about it, rather than to say we're going to hit you with the stick because you've not done what you've promised to do. So I appreciate this. So now, the clarity that I'm getting, I want to know from you, Tim, what what does a reinvented procurement function department in Transnet enable for the business going into the future? What does the future look like for Transnet with this new way of work?
Look, we are so much fired up to make a meaningful contribution that will change the trajectory of the organization. I mean, as a very, very simple example, your costs of goods and services are probably one of the highest cost drivers. Well, not probably.
Yeah, they are.
Highest cost drivers. So once you come with supply chain management that adopts to best practices according to the benchmarks, and then you succeed at it, the organization can only experience a success. And then the country can only benefit from a successful Transnet.
Tim Sebula, who is the supplier relationship manager at Transnet under the procurement function. Thank you for your time. Thank you for enlightening us about how you're doing things differently, why those things are important, and how they're going to ultimately gear the business up to making efficient the supply chain function within the business, but also creating stability and growth for the business. Thank you for your time, sir.
You're welcome, Zimasa.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much, sir.